All right. So we're talking about what if, and sounds like I might be in the minority of this. I hated it. I hated almost
Eight.
the entire hate. Yes. I have watched almost every MCU movie and enjoyed all of them. I don't know what other MCU things there have been, but anything MCU, I am a fan. This, God, I hated.
Oh,
Uh, just, here's the main reason why I hated it. Almost everything had a bad ending.
That
Everything
is
went
true.
horrible. You could do what ifs about all kinds of things. We do sport. We do what ifs in sports all the time. The biggest what if with the Steelers is what if they drafted Dan Marino in the '80s.
mm,
But here it was like it was almost all bad.
yeah.
Really? What did what were your thoughts on the series overall?
Um, well, I just watched a lot of it today. um, I, I'm not a huge animation fan with something, especially something that I already love with live action. And it's how can you take like every single episode? I didn't watch the zombie one. Sorry, not going there. But every single episode, they took something awesome and turned it into like a jokey sort of ah ha 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 Saturday morning cartoon thing. I liked it more than I thought I would by the end because I was interested in the story. But I'm sorry, I can't do Avengers. I can't do Marvel animated. I just can't. It's too. You can't make it silly.
That was the other thing. That was the other thing. And there was one thing that they made silly, which almost invalidated all of MCU. But anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, animation.
Not
I
with
just
this.
don't. There are some animations that I've been okay. Into the Spider-Verse was awesome.
Mm,
Star Wars, Clone Wars was awesome. Star Wars Rebels I
Rebels.
liked,
Yeah.
but there's a lot. There's something about animation that I don't like, even when some of the voices were the same
Which
actors.
was
I
cool.
still that was cool, but it wasn't the same. They weren't the same characters. They didn't move the same. It's just I don't know. What did you think, Andrew?
see, I think I had the easiest time coming into this animated and just from an animation standpoint because I am a pretty massive anime fan, and so that kind of style, I was a little worried going into. But the first episode, I didn't really care for the first episode, but the fight scenes looked kinetic enough to me that I was able to roll with it. But yeah, overall, this series was just so up and down for me. Like I just alluded to it. The first episode, the retelling of First Avenger with Captain Carter, it didn't really do too much for me. Um, it was nice to see Chadwick Boseman in multiple episodes, given that this is his
God,
last MCU performance. It was bittersweet.
I had no idea
Um,
that he had done that.
yeah,
It was his last
and
thing ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm. And I think Pam, the episode you skipped was the episode I was actually most excited for coming into this.
Really?
I really like the comic books, the Marvel Zombies comic book did something interesting that most zombie stuff doesn't do. Even when the heroes get turned, their consciousness is still there, and so they're aware that what they're doing is horrible. Like there's a pretty infamous scene where zombie Spider-Man literally eats Mary Jane and Aunt May. It's freaking dark. And but he realizes he's doing it the entire time and is like morally busted up about it, but it's like a compulsion. And I was upset they took that part out, but overall, I liked the zombie episode.
I hated. I think that might have been my least favorite one.
Oh, come on.
I'm not a zombie
Well,
person.
I'm not a zombie person either. I'm
Oh,
not.
come on.
Uh,
Scott Lang headless with the Doctor Strange cape. That was amazing.
Was that the one
uh,
he was in? I went to IMDb and looked up like everybody who was in it, and I'm like, I didn't see Scott Lang. Like, so that must have been the one.
Yeah, he appears as a head in a jar, and Doctor Strange's cape like carries him around the whole episode.
Okay.
It's so ridiculous.
so let's just go over these episodes real quick. The first one was what if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? I thought this was interesting. I think I like stuff like this where you have a different take on things. It's like, okay, Peggy Carter could have become, and the super soldier. That's cool. I'm a little wondering why they didn't call her Captain Great Britain or Captain England or Captain UK.
Oh yeah, I didn't even
like
that.
why are you Captain Carter? That was, I don't know, maybe it just
because it's alliterative, and Marvel loves their alliterations.
Yeah.
Parker, Bruce Banner,
sounds better, I guess.
Yeah.
Reed Richards, like they're all alliterative.
Fin Fang Foom.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What real quick? What did you guys think of the Captain Carter one?
He was okay.
I wasn't. I mean, I liked her by the end of the series more, but when I first watched it, I was like, seriously, like, I don't know. Captain America is such a one of the main parts of the Avengers.
It's like the foundation of the whole thing.
Yes, it's him and Iron Man are the foundation. So
So
really,
it was okay. The one thing it did do positively for me is it made me confident that they could pull off the action in an animated form, because that was my biggest worry. Animes have done that great for years and years, but for some reason, when American artists try to do action scenes in cartoons, they don't always come out looking good. And I thought the fights, at least the fight scenes in Captain Carter, even if the story didn't do anything for it, because it's just retelling of the first Avenger. Like,
I mean,
thing.
it was almost the same thing, except she fights a giant octopus and
Cthulhu.
Hilarity ensues. The second episode, what if T'Challa became Star-Lord? Wait a minute. Wait. Let's rewind here. Wakanda is in this hidden thing that's hidden from the rest of the world. Yet a spaceship is supposed to come and kidnap T'Challa. Whatever.
Again, it was nice to see Chadwick Boseman back for one of his final performances in the MCU. But again, the biggest twist in this one was he reformed Thanos somehow. They don't really explain that, but
like the universe would have been a better place if basically it's like
freaking Chris Pratt didn't punch Thanos, man.
Exactly. Screw you. Yeah. That's another thing. Screw you, Peter. Screw you, original Star-Lord. You suck. T'Challa would have done a better job. Go ahead, Pam.
I like how serious. Like, I liked T'Challa's demeanor. So for him to change again by the end of the series, it grew on me a little bit to have him be Star-Lord, but I liked his demeanor, and his demeanor went out the window when he turned into Star-Lord doing his little thing. So I don't know. Those two just didn't really mesh for me. I don't know.
Yeah. Pam, you mentioned that they took some of the things and made him a joke.
Yeah.
Thanos, we spent 20 some movies talking about how Thanos is the big bad and the biggest bad in the history of big bads. And here he's a joke, literally a joke. Yeah. Are you kidding me? You're basically diminishing the whole story of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3.
I agree. I can't disagree with that. I
could have gotten on board had they given anything other than just some brief lip service to, T'Challa just talked him out of it. Like, if it was that easy, like, why were we trying to talk Thanos down off the genocidal cliff?
Yeah. Now hear me out, guys. Wiping out half the universe would be a really cool idea. Shut up, dude. Like, it's not a joke.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that's one of the things about the cartoons. Like, there are some cartoons like Star Wars Rebels, where they get into deep storylines, and it's really good, and the characters are really good. I feel like they have to totally take that away from Thanos, for example? Like, the depth, I don't know. I like the depth of these characters.
Yeah.
Didn't do it really. So,
and here's another thing. What does this all actually mean?
Nothing.
Are we? It might mean nothing, or it might mean something. I heard.
By
Captain
the end,
Carter,
it might.
Yeah, I heard Captain Carter might show up in live action. I heard.
Well, they still had Haley Atwell doing the voice, so they still had that actress waiting in the wings. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I actually kind of liked the Agent Carter show that ran on ABC for 2 seasons.
I didn't get to watch it. I should have, but
if you're okay with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. level TV, that's kind of the level it was on. It was just kind of like, oh, it's something Marvel to watch. But
see, that's what bugged me about. I didn't watch Agent Carter.
Yeah.
And I know I have friends that idolized Agents of Shield, and it drove me crazy because to me, Agents of Shield was like totally inconsequential to anything. They barely mention anything that happened in the MCU, and they had nothing to do with. They could have easily brought some of those characters and stories into the MCU, and they didn't. It's like it was a forgotten thing that
look,
it's
it
just
was better than Inhumans. I don't know if you've seen the Inhumans quote unquote movie TV pilot. So bad. So bad.
Was that just a big failure? I mean, at least Agents of Shield was like several seasons, but
Agents of Shield actually hit its stride when they brought Robbie Ray as Ghost Rider in. That was actually really badass.
I actually did see that, but the Inhumans thing, I think, didn't it look really hokey?
Basically,
like,
the guy that was pushing it at Marvel, it was like his baby, but then when Kevin Feige and them got into control, like basically the driver's seat, Feige didn't want to work with him anymore. It was Perlmutter, and Perlmutter was pushing this movie and was like, nope, we got to do a theatrical release. And the CGI is awful. Like the story, the first 3 episodes are essentially the movie they released, and nothing is resolved in the movie. There's no conclusion to the movie. It just ends. It was really bad. Like, really, really bad.
Major failure. Episode 3, what if the world lost its mightiest heroes? So this was kind of a murder mystery because all of our original Avengers basically died, almost all of them, for some unknown reasons. And we find out it was Hank Pym was mad.
I really skimmed this one. I didn't really see it. So
oh, you didn't see this one?
I mean, I skimmed it, but I didn't like. I couldn't get into this.
These are So basically, that was the thing. They all died of unknown reasons. What the unknown reason turned out to be, Hank Pym basically was like Ant-Man and going in and sabotaging all of the other things because he was mad that his daughter died.
Yeah.
So he took revenge. And so what ended up happening was basically the only 2 Avengers that were left were Captain America, who they thawed, and Captain Marvel. And they were left to fight Loki and that whole, basically the plot of the first Avengers movie, but it's just Captain America and Captain Marvel taking on Loki and the Galaga aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, it was a bit of a murder mystery. Okay, whatever.
I did like all the callbacks to all the old Marvel movies. This is the first one that really got it right, I thought. There's flashbacks to Thor. There's flashbacks to the Incredible Hulk, which people argue whether that's continuity or not. I say it is. And Iron Man 2 or 3, where he's got like the palladium or whatever is like poisoning him or something. Yeah. So I liked all those nods. That was fun.
Yeah. Again, almost all of these were bad endings, not happy endings, let me put it that way. Episode 4, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? And I mean, this was interesting. It's like, okay, he really loved her and he wanted to do anything to save her. And I guess we're introduced to this concept of what did they call it, an absolute point or something like that.
Oh yeah. Did I write that down? I don't know.
It's like no matter what, she had to die.
Yeah, she had
to die for him to become Doctor Strange. So that makes sense. So that like the universe would, no matter what he did, the universe corrected that. Okay.
But she doesn't die in the movie.
Yeah, she just kind of goes off into the background to do stuff.
So that was one thing I didn't understand about that one. Okay, so she doesn't die in the movie. So does that in the live action movie? So like that doesn't go to like, so she doesn't really have to die. Like this is its own like universe here.
Alternate realities, man.
It is. I mean, this whole multiverse thing really hit home in that episode. I
have an idea for a new series.
Uh-oh.
Real Housewives of the MCU.
Oh God.
You take Doctor Strange's girlfriend. You take, didn't Ant-Man have a girlfriend? You
do Pepper.
Pepper Potts,
Jane.
You take all of them and just have a series with them. That I would watch over.
Oh my goodness. I've never watched any of those. I'm not gonna lie. So
Can we just set it to like the Friends theme or something though? Instead of I don't know if Real Housewives has theme songs, but just set it to that Friends song.
I only watch if they do Real Housewives of Pittsburgh. That would be funny.
That would be fun. I'd watch that.
But yeah, this was interesting, and it really sets up.
It sets up later.
It does set up later,
yeah.
And here's what I did not know, and here's why the end kind of redeemed the whole thing for me is, and I thought these were just separate stories, or like basically every episode was, what if this thing happened? Well, everything would go to hell.
Yeah.
But then at the end, they all had to come together and they all had to work together. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, basically Doctor Strange screws up and didn't he destroy the universe? Didn't he destroy his universe or something like that?
He eats all the demons or something.
It was either he destroys the universe or he has to let her die or whatever.
And I don't think we've ever, like, any of the characters have ever interacted with the Watcher until this episode.
Stanley in the second Guardians movie.
Okay, but I mean, in terms of the Watcher in this series, none of them interacted, except for this, where Doctor Strange is like, "Do over? No, I didn't mean it. Sorry." He's like, "Well, I can't do anything because I'm just a Watcher."
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Which is BS by the end of the series, but
right. And then episode 5 is what if zombies?
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever. Once again, there's 2 characters that really look bad in this series. One of them is Hank Pym, who's basically a jerk every single episode.
Oh, he's in this one too.
Yeah, he basically causes a zombie apocalypse, and Iron Man has to die every single episode.
Seriously, they just kept killing him.
Is he an absolute point like Doctor Strange's girlfriend? Like, does he have to die all the time?
I mean, does he have to be?
I don't know. It kind of seemed like maybe he's the key to the universe, because if he dies, the universe ends up bad.
Well, Doctor Strange said he looked at, like, in Infinity War and Endgame, he looked at like 14 million possible outcomes, and there's only one where they won, and Tony Stark had to be alive for it. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to
pretty key.
Read that much into it. Honestly, Spider-Man and Scott Lang are the high points of that episode for me. They're just their comedic timing was hilarious to me.
They and then the whole thing with Vision and Wanda,
that was weird.
Like,
because Vision's whole thing in Age of Ultron was he's like not really on the Avengers side, he's on the side of life.
Right.
And that's like a dropped line he has. And now he's just straight murdering T'Challa to feed his zombie girlfriend.
Maybe I'm glad I didn't watch that one.
Yes. It
had its moments. And that was the one I was most excited for, like I said, because I really like that comic run. They changed some stuff I wasn't thrilled with, but Peter Parker's timing is great. So is Scott Lang. I like those 2 characters in general. So I was happy to see him back.
Episode 6, what if Killmonger rescued Tony Stark? This was pretty interesting. This was an interesting, I mean, I guess it's plausible because, Killmonger was a soldier. So he would have been there. And then Killmonger got a Killmonger. He kills Tony Stark. He kills T'Challa. He basically ends up taking over Wakanda. And I thought it was really interesting that there were a whole bunch of things saying Killmonger was right. And that's what I loved about Black Panther, and why it's one of my favorite movies was here the villain had a point. We should, hey, we could be the greatest nation on earth. We could be the most powerful nation on earth. Let's do that. Yeah. let's kick the world's butt. But I thought it was really interesting that at the end of the series, they actually show what would have happened if Wakanda decided to, kick butt. And what ended up happening was the world said, no, we're gonna kick your butt. They basically just wiped out Wakanda. So no, Killmonger was not right. Killmonger was wrong.
I did
even if you have a superior technology, you're still not going to beat the whole world.
Yeah. I did like the dropped line where he's making the robots with Tony Stark, and I forget exactly the line, but he's like, yeah, worst case scenario, we have the first real life Gundam in the world, and that's an anime that I was a huge fan of growing up. So I liked that nod. Killmonger's apparently an anime fan.
Pam, what did you think of this?
The one thing I really, really, really didn't like about this, I like the character of Killmonger, so I kind of liked that he came back. But they took at the end when Shuri and Pepper are like after he killed like Tony and T'Challa, they're like, well, like this shouldn't be this and this should be, like, death was so cavalier to them. Like the fact that they were just like Pepper and Shuri didn't even care. It's like they didn't even care.
They just took out the most important person in each of their lives.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, so you want to go to Applebee's later? I mean, it was very, you're right. It was very cavalier.
Very cavalier. It really irritated me because I was into that episode. I was like, oh, okay. And then at the end, it's like, okay, ladies, can we just not be totally who cares?
But that's also part of the reason why the world was able to beat up Wakanda is because they had Shuri there to say, oh, I have access to that technology too, so let's take him out. So I mean, then Wakanda wouldn't even have that technological advantage technically.
And to your point, Pam, I feel like Pepper Potts just kind of checks out of certain movies. Like they struggled to get her back so many times, and then she's just like a glorified cameo and stuff. So
it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Episode 7, what if Thor was an only child? You know what, this might have been my least favorite. Party Thor, come on.
It got old. It did get old. It was like, seriously. And I can't believe Chris Hemsworth all those people came back for that episode, and it was like party Thor. I thought that was interesting that they came back for that. Like, okay.
Well, they probably had Tom Hiddleston still on set doing his Loki series. So like,
that's true. Go ahead, Pam.
No, I was just going to say, and Natalie Portman was probably working on Love and Thunder. So, I mean, they were probably around.
Yeah, they were just like, hey, during your lunch break, can you do this? Can you just step into the sound studio? This is another one where it took one of the main characters of the MCU and made him a joke.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Also, it was kind of weird that Loki was a giant. Yes, I know he isn't originally a frost giant, but
I mean, that the whole premise of that is if he was raised by his actual birth parents and Odin didn't like basically kidnap him.
Yeah, but I mean,
this is another one of those stories though that destroys everything you already know about Thor and Loki. And for me, that part of it was like, oh, come on, like don't destroy everything that happened in the movie, in the live action movie.
It almost turned into Ferris Bueller's Day Off. But the only cool thing was they call Captain Marvel and she just goes to and they fight. Now I've heard where it's been said, wow, this really diminishes Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel is supposed to be one of the most powerful heroes going, and she could not defeat Thor. And my answer to that is, who gives a flying crap about any of this stuff? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's valid.
I'm not treating anything in this series as MCU proper continuity. I think this was just like, hey, we have some cool weird stories to tell, and let's just set them in alternate timelines. Right. So
it seems like by the time they get to this episode, it's almost like they're not sure. The earlier episodes, like Joey said, or whichever one of you guys said, or were just its own little thing. And then now they're starting to integrate them, but how much of it is really real and how much of it's going to have an impact later? And then of course the end of this one leads right into the whole Ultron thing, which
right
is going to have some impact. So they must have some of it be meaningful.
It was funny that, okay, so they party so hard that they trash the planet.
Yeah.
And then because mommy might find out, we have to go back and clean up everything that we broke.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
It was cute that they made the Leaning Tower of Pisa straight again. That was okay.
It's the ending to every house party movie ever.
Seriously.
We threw this big party and everything got wrecked, and now we got to scramble to clean it up.
Exactly.
In an hour, we're going to clean it all up, like
exactly,
like Weird Science or whatever.
Okay, ha ha ha.
Any American Pie movie.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha. Thanks for wasting 45 minutes of my life. All right.
Yeah.
I did like the Captain Marvel fight though. I did. That was
pretty kick ass. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Episode 8, What If Ultron won? And I mean, okay, this could have happened. I mean, there are a couple things that happened in Age of Ultron that, you know, it could have gone the other way, and Ultron actually could have won. So
very easily.
Yeah. So
I was bummed that James Spader didn't voice him. I was I cannot take Ultron seriously because it's not James Spader. So.
Really,
I do like that Ultron finally gets his due, though. He was such an underserved villain in like roughly 2 weeks of Ultron instead of Age of Ultron.
Right.
So, yeah, I felt that they could have done him better because he's one of the massive big bads. Like, I think in the comic book continuity right now, he like merges with Hank Pym and is like off planet building thousands of Ultrons.
Yeah, so. He's a massive big. Oh, who's a kitty?
That's Riley. That's my daughter's cat.
Hi, Riley.
Yeah, so basically, Ultron nukes the planets. Then, so basically, the Watcher screwed up. This is the Watcher's fault, and that's why he had to break his oath. Because so he blows up Earth. He destroys Earth.
Destroys like everything.
Discovers there's other worlds. He blows up. He kills the other worlds, and then he's done. He's destroyed basically almost every planet in the universe. Okay, he's done, and he was just about to say, okay, I guess I'm done. I guess I'm just going to shut down or something. And then the stupid ass Watcher, part of my language, just like, hey, look at him. And he's like, what, wait, what's that? It's like, hey, I see you. And that just threatens the multiverse. So, okay. What did you guys think of this?
The Watcher's never been my favorite character, like in the comics or in MCU continuity, what little he's in there. It's just such an obscure, like, arbitrary rule that they break all the time. They're like, we can't interfere. Except for the fact that, like,
yeah, except now. Yeah.
Well, in theory, the Watcher's going to have to come back for Thor 4 because that's how Thor loses his hammer. That's how Thor loses Mjolnir. Is Nick Fury, old school Nick Fury, not Samuel L. Jackson Nick Fury, basically steals the Watcher's eyes and he can like see everything. And he whispers to Thor as they're fighting on the moon, Gore was right. And it convinces Thor that he's unworthy to lift Mjolnir. That's how Jane gets it. So I'm wondering if they stick to that continuity because Gore the God Butcher is in the new one. He's being played by Christian Bale, who I'm super excited for.
Christian Bale is in the new Thor movie.
Yeah, he's Gore the God Butcher.
Not that I wouldn't be anyway, but
dang, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty epic. The Guardians supposedly show up too. Like, because Thor, last we saw Thor, he was going off planet with the Guardians.
So, I mean, I don't know that much about it, but basically, doesn't Jane become the new Thor or something like that?
Jane becomes Lady Thor. Yeah. Okay. She picks up Mjolnir, and if they're going to stick with continuity from the comics, Thor basically loses a lot of his ability. He can't fly anymore, so he has to go get this goat called Tooth Gnasher that can, like, fly around in space.
A goat.
Called Tooth Gnasher. He also gets a demonic pit bull named Thori that I am praying we get.
No, you talk.
Or he just runs around saying, "Like I'm the best murder dog ever," and it's hilarious.
I don't want hilarious unless it's Ragnarok hilarious,
isn't it?
I think that's where they're going. They're going to stick with that same theme. That was the most successful Thor movie he's ever done.
Taika
is the director.
Okay. Then we're in good hands.
Yeah.
In theory,
anything he does is pretty gold.
Now, I mean, James Gunn also directed Guardians 2, which I thought was horrible. So it's not, really? I was so not a fan of Guardians 2.
Huh.
And it's only because I was such a fan of Guardians 1 that it had so much to live up to. So, I mean, it was just a fine movie.
I mean, cards on the table, I'd probably take Guardians 1 over Guardians 2 personally, but that's because it was such an out of left field movie. Like, right. I did not know who the Guardians were.
It was groundbreaking, yeah.
Yeah.
And now we have the Guardians of the Multiverse.
Yeah. That was, I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
And we're getting a Groot spinoff, a Christmas special, and Guardians 3. So the Guardians are going to be very heavily involved.
Okay. So before we talk about the last episode, we need to talk about the episode that didn't air, is going to air next season. I don't know what's going on. The Gamora.
Yeah, I read about that.
The Gamora one.
I don't know. I don't know what happens, but I read that it's about Gamora. And
here's what happens, and this is amazing. This to me like ticks me off because this sounds like an amazing plot. Here's the plot. Remember in Avengers when Tony takes the nuke and he throws it through
the wormhole.
He flies it through the wormhole, and then he falls through the wormhole onto Earth.
Right.
And Hulk scares the crap out of him into living again.
That was great. I love that movie.
Here's the what if. What if instead of falling through the wormhole onto Earth, the wormhole closes and now he's in space? And he ends up on that planet. I'm not sure if it's the planet that from Thor Ragnarok where Thor had to fight.
Oh, Sakaar?
Hulk. Yes, it was Sakaar. Okay, so he ends up on that planet, and now he has to fight in that arena. So what he does is he kind of recreates the original Iron Man, where he has to make his own Iron Man suit again so he could fight to live. And then there's the added thing of Gamora. Thanos sends his daughter, Gamora, to kill Tony Stark for what he did in the Avengers movie. So she ends up on that planet, and somehow they end up being friends. And somehow he convinces her that Thanos is bad and that they need to go after Thanos, and they actually kill Thanos.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I feel like that's Gamora's arc in everything. It was, she was the deadliest woman in the galaxy or whatever at the beginning of Guardians 1, but she's rebelling against Thanos. I feel like that's always her arc.
Okay.
Like, at least in the movies, Guardians is such an obscure comic line. I'm not privy to everything.
So that's why we see Gamora in this last episode, but she's not explained why, because who knows what's going to happen. They say it was because of COVID that they didn't air that episode. I think that's BS. I think it's just
I can understand that. I'm just excited for Thor Love and Thunder, because going back to Ragnarok, when they do the little like panning shot of like it's not the Collector, who's the one Grandmaster. There are Man-Thing and Beta Ray Bill carved in the side of that building. Beta Ray Bill is a pretty heavy Thor character, and I really want him to show up in Love and Thunder.
When's that coming out?
Beginning of next year, I think.
Oh yeah, interesting.
That soon?
Interesting.
I think so. They've already like posted set shots.
I think it's interesting that the Jane was basically like gone from many of the movies, and now she's going to have a major role.
This is going to be the May. It's going to be the May biggie, May 6th, 2022.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming no setbacks, and
yeah.
I think,
I'm all about it. Let's go.
Too.
Eternals is coming up next in less than a month. Let's go. Let's do this. So
I'm actually kind of excited for that one now with the last trailer that came out.
Oh, I think it's going to be good. I've like I say, I knew nothing about Shang-Chi, and I was very happy with that. So I'm very, I trust the process. I trust the MCU, except when it comes to animation. But anyway,
I mean, Kevin Feige rarely misses. So
he really misses. So the last episode, what if the Watcher broke his oath, and basically he summons all of the characters from the previous episodes to form the Guardians of the Multiverse. This was clever. It was cool that they got together. I mean, Ultron is basically the biggest bad. He made Thanos look like nothing in comparison. Okay, cool. And it was pretty cool how they were able to work together and all that stuff. I also thought it was cool that the Watcher knew this all along, and that's why he brought Killmonger, and he knew Killmonger was going to try to take the Infinity Stones. And basically I think he knew how it was all going to go down, and he knew that Killmonger and that dude that took over that defeated Vision and took over his body were going to fight for the Infinity Stones forever, and it was up to Doctor Strange to basically create a pocket little universe for them so they could just be there forever. I thought that was pretty clever.
I mean, that's very similar to how he beats Dormammu at the end of his solo movie. He kind of just traps him in a time loop. So
yeah,
I love the meme where it's like Doctor Strange is the only hero to defeat his enemy by getting him to rage quit.
A lot of what happens in this one, I wrote all these questions down. Like, I'm not sure I 100% understood where everything stood by the end of this episode, because I think you get to this one and you really are like, oh, okay, wait a minute. Like, I need to go back and watch this one to see what happened here. And I need to go back and watch this one. It's like, do I care that much?
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I do. But yeah, there were a lot of different, like, I wasn't sure of Black Widow's status by the end of this. And like, is Killmonger gone by the end of this? Like, did they actually get rid of him?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then
Michael B. Jordan's coming back for Black Panther too.
He is coming back.
It's rumor. Nothing confirmed yet, but there's rumor.
There were also all kinds of questions about how the Infinity Stones were used and on the rules about them and stuff. It's like, it's getting a little bit overly complicated with this stuff.
Well, yeah. The whole, okay, well, this is the Infinity Stones and how they work in my universe, but what about my universe and what about my story and what? And then you're like, oh my god, like I can't think about all this.
All these rules and what all the Infinity Stones do. It's like, you know what? We just spent 20 some movies talking about Infinity Stones and fighting over them. Can we get over the stupid Infinity Stones already?
I'm done chasing glowing rocks around the universe. Give me something new.
Thank you.
Yeah, that end up in a drawer for Loki anyway. So
right. So
yeah.
But yeah, this was cool. So and Killmonger's like, no, but I want to use the Infinity Stones for good things. Like we could all have happy endings. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The other thing that was weird is Tony Stark uses the Infinity Stones. Hulk uses them. Thanos uses them, and it kills Tony. It very much wounds Hulk, and it also wounds Thanos. And yet here they're using the Infinity Stones like willy-nilly, and nothing's happening. Even
maybe it's because Ultron's inorganic.
Or because he didn't use them all at once. I think I saw that as an explanation or something like that.
Maybe.
I don't know. Too many darn roles.
Well, and then so was it Black Widow comes in with the Infinity Crusher and like,
oh yeah, and does her best Hawkeye impression.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what? I was like, wait a minute, what's up with that? Like, she's acting like Hawkeye's dead, and I thought that I missed that in something because he can't be dead.
I think he did die. I think he did die in the first.
Did he?
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah, he did. He did, because basically Black Widow was the only person left on that planet.
Got it.
Okay.
But the
computer version of Arnim Zola.
You know who they should have got to take the shot?
Who?
Katie from Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
You want somebody to take a good shot. That's her.
I'm still convinced she's showing up in the Hawkeye series.
Aquafina,
They just gave
baby,
another character a bow and arrow. Like, just put her in it.
Hey yo, Hawkeye. I know you're good with that bow and arrow, but let me teach you a thing or two. Let me teach you a thing or two about that.
Yeah, that would have been a good choice. Yes,
let me woman-splain bow and arrow to you, buddy.
Yeah. I didn't really understand where we were. Is the Guardians of the Multiverse, is that a thing now? Is that supposed to be a thing?
I think it's just maybe. A playoff Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, but is it, since one of the next movies coming out is, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, is the Guardians of the Multiverse a thing now?
I heard that this version, I'm gonna call him Octopus Doctor Strange, Doc Strange. I heard he's actually going to be in the Multiverse of Madness movie.
That's one of the big prevailing theories as to why Doctor Strange is fighting Spider-Man on the train, where he makes like multiple trains and stuff. That's that version of him. So. And where Spider-Man goes to him and says, "Hey, can you do this thing where everybody forgets about me?" He's like, "Sure." Yeah, and he did not look like regular Doctor Strange. So something crazy is going on there. But
one of the things that's been so nice about this whole Marvel universe arc from the very first movie is that it is a cohesive story. So the fact that we're at this point where I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? Wait a minute, what's this? I mean, it's a multiverse of madness. But seriously, it's irritating though.
It is irritating.
It's very difficult to keep track of.
Exactly. It's difficult to keep track of. It's confusing. I hope that when this is all done, we could go back. I don't know what's going to happen, but I don't want it to get overly confusing.
I do know one thing that's going to happen. Can I drop a major spoiler on you guys?
Go for it.
I don't think either of you've seen Venom yet.
No, I did. I know what you're talking about. The end scene.
The end stinger.
So one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch Venom was because it has nothing to do with the MCU, and now it does.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. At
Venom
the end,
pops into Spider-Man's universe, the 616. There's strong suspicion now he pops up in No Way Home. So I'm very excited about that. How they're going to do that? What happened?
Venom's going to be in the next Spider-Man movie?
Yeah.
Venom pops over. He hops dimensions, and it's unclear why. Maybe it was Loki messing with the universe or Doctor Strange's spell, but basically comes in, and on the TV is that last scene from Far From Home with J. Jonah Jameson revealing his identity. And so they're in the same universe as of right now. I don't know if it's going to stay that way because Sony's being cagey about the rights to Spider-Man right now, but we'll have to see.
Oh, get over it already. Come on. Bring them in. Just bring them on in and leave them in.
Spider-Man is next to maybe only Batman or Superman. He is the most popular comic book sales-wise superhero that exists in the world. So I understand the desire to hold on to those rights, but Sony, you had 5 shots, and maybe the second Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire was your best one. Just let Marvel do this.
Listen,
they know what they're doing.
They just settled with Scarlett Johansson, and they basically said, okay, here's 80 million or whatever it was, whatever the amount was.
I didn't hear what the actual number was. I did hear they reached a settlement, but I didn't hear what that was.
I heard it was between 50 and 80 million or something like that, which is like
an ungodly amount of money, but
and to you and me, that's like $100. That's what it is to them. It's chump change. So, just give the money to Sony, just buy the stuff. Let's get this going. Come on, bring Venom in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely down. Venom's always been one of my favorite villains, anti-hero, however you want to do it. I'm really excited because one of the other podcasts I listen to about this comic booky stuff, there's rumor that they might be doing the King in Black arc next, which is a really recent one where basically the god of symbiotes comes down to Earth and just starts messing everything up, and there's big Venom dragons flying around. It was crazy.
Interesting. So. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know anything either.
Okay, so now so coming up, we have Eternals on November 5th, then Spider-Man No Way Home December 17th, and then we don't have another one till March, and that's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Ooh, that's a big jump.
Yeah, so we have to wait 3 whole months for another. Oh, how are we gonna live?
Wait a minute, when's Hawkeye though? Wait, did you say that?
Oh yeah, Hawkeye is like end of November or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Christmassy, because
it was around Christmas time. Yeah. So that's I'm actually looking forward to that, even though I think Hawkeye
the best presents come with a bow. That's their tagline, and I love it.
I like that the technology around Zula was like from, I don't know what, 70s, 80s or whatever, yet he defeats the most powerful computer ever known to the universe. Sure. Also they use they kind of use the thing from Independence Day where they shot a virus into the spaceship and destroyed it. So I'm going to shoot this arrow. I'm going to shoot this arrow that happens to have some kind of connection that's going to affect them, because that's how programs work.
And it was very Shang-Chi of that moment. Like, you have to get it right in that right spot.
Right.
And, yeah.
Right.
I mean, Hawkeye does that in the very first Avengers when he's mind controlled. He like breaks into the helicarrier, like shoots it into like a USB drive or something.
He shoots this way and it goes that way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
like, the arrow he fires from the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the arrow
basically, like, bends the bullet like in Wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The arrow turns into like a USB connection or something like that.
Oh yeah, there is that scene.
That's what I'm kind of like excited about in Hawkeye. It's like what, because it sounds like there's a whole bunch of maybe the arrows are more exciting than the Hawkeye characters. So we'll see.
Secret arrows of Hawkeye.
That's what they should have called it.
I do love the bit from the trailer for Hawkeye where he's going through the arrows and he's like, nope, too dangerous, and she shoots the arrow and the car blows up and she's like, you had arrows more dangerous than that one?
Yeah,
that was a good trailer. I like that trailer.
It got me excited for a character I wasn't excited about. I like Jeremy Renner fine, but he's always been kind of secondary. I liked him best as Ronan, to be honest with you.
And they will explore that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, Kate Bishop's dressing up like the Ronan character in the early parts of that trailer. So yeah, very cool. Right now in post-production, they're all the way up. Doctor Strange and Thor Love and Thunder are in post-production. Black Panther and Marvels are filming right now, as is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and then Guardians and Fantastic Four are the next two after that, and they're no release date. Well, actually, Guardians has May 5th, 2023, so we got a while to wait for that one.
Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is July of 2022, and the Marvels, whatever that is November of 2022.
It's going to be Captain Marvel and Photon.
Hey, I'm all about that. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, it's going to be Rambeau, and supposedly a third character shows up in that. I forget exactly who they're saying it is, but another strong female lead is going to show up in that one. So
Fantastic Four.
That's another one I never watched. I never watched Fantastic Four, but I trust that they're introducing these characters I had never heard of all through here.
Exactly.
And they've done a good job. So
I knew nothing about Shang-Chi. I loved it. I knew nothing about Guardians. I loved it. Yeah, I trust they will entertain me. Just stop with the animation stuff. And there's going to be a season 2.
Yeah, when's that coming out? Is that going to be fit into this timeline somehow before? And if it comes out, like, okay, we've gotten to the point that some of this stuff could have impact on the live action movies. Is season 2 going to be lots of impact on the live action movies? Like, could be.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, how's it going to integrate with all that? We'll see. But I just hope they just make it a little bit more happy endings, or just different endings besides the universe blowing up, or the world blowing up, or everything going bad almost every single episode.
That's part of the reason I'm excited for Hawkeye. Give me a smaller scale story. I've always liked the street level heroes, your Spider-Mans, your Daredevils, your Punishers. Give me that. Give me that. I can deal without the universe coming to an end every time we flip on something Marvel. So
Yeah. I mean, WandaVision had huge implications. Loki definitely had huge implications.
Yeah.
Falcon and Winter Soldier, not so much. I mean, it was cool what was going to happen with the new Captain America and stuff like that. But otherwise, it was kind of localized stuff. So yeah, I mean, let's just have a cool story and see what happens with these characters.
But they
And
do
Anthony Mackie is signed on for the 4th Captain America movie.
Oh, good. So. Good.
What were you going to say, Pam?
No, I was just going to say they do have to make Thor. I really hope that Thor in Love and Thunder doesn't end up being doofus Thor from What If, because it's funny. I was thinking about that actually, because he's such a doofus in What If. And even though, I mean, you have Fat Thor and beer drinking and crying and the whole bit in Endgame, he's still hysterical.
I mean,
he's still a good character.
And I mean, they kind of didn't do much, enough with Fat Thor. I mean,
Thor.
He's fat because of PTSD, because he's, which is a serious thing that a lot of people deal with. Right. So I wish they would have done a little bit more with that. But.
Right. Stick with that idea that, there's funny parts about that, but why did that happen? Stick with that. Ooh. Don't push. Yeah. What if?
Sorry, I broke the Statue of Liberty. I better go fix that before mommy finds out. What is this crap?
No, I know.
Yes.
Yeah. And even
if you guys have seen any pictures of Chris Hemsworth, he's back in shape. It's not going to be thick Thor. So he out of all of them likes the workout routine. Chris Evans always hated it.
That's my goal. That's my goal. When I just started a weight loss thing, and my goal is to end up looking like regular Hemsworth.
There you go. You can do it.
Yeah, if I pull that off, I should win a Nobel Prize or something like that. All right, hey guys, this was awesome. Great to talk to you again.
No, I missed you guys. We got to do this again soon.
Well, all right.
We got Eternals.
Yeah, Eternals.
Less than a month. All right. Hey, see you guys.
All right. Bye.